All right, everybody. Welcome in and welcome back. Season 4, episode 23, aka our 134th show. Andy, we are both, I think, in great moods for
hmm
different reasons. I know Manchester
Yes.
United did not play this week, so they couldn't break your hearts.
Yes.
Hearts? Heart.
Yeah. I think there's multiple, at some level. There's different multiple hearts,
Yes. Yeah.
But yes, so nothing to have to complain about. So honestly, it was kind of nice just to be able to watch soccer and not be, completely emotionally invested. So
Yeah.
that was a blessing for sure for this weekend. How was it for you with Barcelona? Because obviously you guys are in the title charge,
Yep.
going for it, and with the Champions League. So how'd it go?
Yeah, so we played Athletic Club Bilbao, who at the time they've been having a rough season. So they were in like 10th, like right around middle of the table. They've been their star boy Nico Williams has been struggling on and off with injuries. He was not playing. And so I think because of that, they've just struggled as a team so far this year. So didn't have to deal with him, which was nice. And the first half was just a whole lot of nothing. It was a big old nothing burger.
Dang.
Barcelona didn't create a ton of chances. I think Rashford was our best offense down the left side. Ferran Torres was like, dude, he's toenails again.
No.
He hasn't
I thought
scored he hasn't scored in 12 games, 10 games, 12 games, something like that. He's missing opportunities. He's the least efficient goal scorer we have. Like the number of chances he requires to score. I'm ready to be done with him and Lewandowski, get 2 new strikers in for next season.
Jeez, yeah.
So
I thought he grew out his toenails so that he didn't have that. Yeah.
I thought he trimmed them, grew them out, did something to them, but whatever has happened, it's come back, and it's almost worse than ever. So
shoot, not the kind of athlete's foot you're looking for, that's for sure.
Not at all. Not at all.
Wow, I can't believe I got you on that one. That was so low. That was low.
It's low but good, man. Sometimes the lowest are the best. But yeah, and then halftime happened, and then Pedri came on and completely changed the game. I mean,
that's what he does.
Yeah, within a minute and a half, 2 minutes, we had our best chance of the game, and right around the 70th minute or so, he gets the ball, makes a move, creates space for himself, finds Lamine Yamal in acres of space. 1-2 touches onto his left foot, makes the defender absolutely break his ankles and do the splits, and then puts it top pins on the far side.
Perfect.
And that's how the game ended.
Wow.
Athletic Club had some chances here and there. There was there was a controversial no red card given that would have gone against Barcelona. So Kubarsi and Iñaki Williams are both going for the ball that's played over the top. And Kubarsi barely clips Iñaki Williams' foot, causes him to trip himself, but there's contact from Kubarsi. Ends up giving a yellow card. There's no VAR review, which is nice. The referee, I think, determined that both players were looking at the ball because he made a ball motion.
Okay.
And it's not like he won the ball, but it looked like they were both kind of looking at the ball over the top, and there was some incidental contact. And even though he was the last defender, he wasn't like trying to make any sort of defensive move or be physical or in any sort of way. So, and I think also, so Ernesto Valverde, who's their coach or manager, I should say, who used to manage Barcelona as well after Luis Enrique, he also said in the post-game interview, it looked like Joan Garcia was coming flying out of his net and was probably going to get there first anyway. Yeah. So it wasn't like the Iñaki Williams had a clear path on goal, one-on-one with the keeper. So I think that's both those things is why the referee didn't give a straight red card. The announcers were surprised that it wasn't at least looked at, and I wouldn't have been opposed to them looking at it, but I think between those kind of multiple things, the referee and VAR decided that it wasn't clear enough for it to be even worth a look. So
yeah.
I if you're an Athletic Club Bilbao fan, I think you want at least a review, which I am not against, but I agreed with the final decision.
Yeah, I think so. I think especially when it comes to balls where no one has like a definitive. To me, if they don't have a definitive if they don't have definitive possession of it, or look like that they are going to be they're in control of the play, I think it's like you can't really give a. I don't think he can really give anything there.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm thinking about the penalty we got when Cunha was able to do a shimmy, and that technically he didn't have possession of the ball, but still, like I thought he was still making that play. So I think it's just always tough to give it. So I think it's honestly better if it's a no call
Yeah.
than a call. Personally,
Yeah, in that situation, you want to give a yellow card, that's fine. I think it was somewhat incidental contact, but if you want to give a yellow card, okay. I think that's a correct call, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but
so hey, get a call going your way. Not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, for once, right? So again, Barcelona ended up scoring after that, so it definitely could have changed the momentum of the game, kind of the paradigm shift of the game, but didn't end up going Athletic Club Bilbao's way. Barcelona ends up winning 1-0. Barcelona, get this, Andy. I think Barcelona might be one of the only teams in Europe with the stat line. Their first 1-0 win of the season.
Wow, it's taken them that long to get a 1-0.
Yep.
Interesting if you feel that's something for your offense, or if that's a pro to your offense or a pro to your defense. Finally, of finding a way to eke out a clean sheet after a win.
It's a pro up to this point. It's a pro to our offense and a con to our defense. That our defense has given up goals like crazy, but we've scored goals like crazy. And I think a pro to our defense in this one snapshot of a game.
Okay.
And I think I was telling Elizabeth this. I think this is something we're going to see more often in league matchups going forward. Because Hansi, between injuries and everything going on, Hansi, he has to try to find combinations where he can rest players. I mean, Fermin, Pedri, Rafinha, and Lewandowski all started the game on the bench. They all eventually came in the game, but they all started the game on the bench because you need to find rest where you can right now.
Yeah.
So we're going to see more of that. I think we're going to see closer games in the league because of that. But again, like, he's got to manage minutes. There's no two ways about it. He's got to do what he's got to do. So
yeah, he does. And so from when he's made that change now, what, you guys have won 3 in a row, 2 in a row?
Yep. So I think 3 now.
Okay. So already there, like I would then say his change and his decision to make that change with the shape and his kind of tactics in that sense seems like they're working well. So yeah. I think kind of like looking in hindsight of knowing when he did that, seemingly did that at the right time. We'll see at the end of this season if maybe it was too late, but I think right now he's doing the business.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to call out every single talking hairdo, talking bald cap, whatever you want to call them, who question Barcelona's decision to go get Joao Cancelo, because we need him right now. Okay. And that is because Araujo isn't up to full 90-minute fitness still, whether it's mental, physical, whatever it is at this point. Balde, Koundé both hurt, so he can fill in on either wing. But right now he's having to play the right side because Gerard Martin has to play the left, because we literally have nobody else. We have Joffrey, but he's like 19, 18.
Yeah.
And he's not
the kid
there
from Game
yet.
of Thrones, that Joffrey?
Yeah, good one.
So when he said he was 18, I was like, this feels like a blonde kid running around coked up or whatever.
Yep. So that's it. We have nobody else. So thank goodness. Thank you, Joao Cancelo, for coming and helping us, because I don't know what you do.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta put a midfielder at that spot. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Going and getting him was the right call. I remember that you had said that he needs to change up his game, or he needs to step up when he came in, because he looks so out of it. But it sounds like he's picking up. Do you think that's the case, or is he still or is more of the team just kind of covering for him and covering up his?
I think the team's covering him a little bit defensively. I think offensively he is still a threat and a boon. I think more on the left side than he is on the right side, because I think he's still trying to figure out how to work with Lamine. But yeah, I mean, just thank goodness. And that's another reason the first half was so much of an issue, because Eric Garcia actually started on the right and Joao Cancelo started on the left. And that's why I think we had better attacks down the left, because he and Rashford were working well together.
Yeah.
But it's just like, man, just thank goodness, because Eric Garcia is a very serviceable player in a lot of positions. I wouldn't say he's stellar in any of them, but that's kind of what makes him unique and makes him a advantageous player to have for for Barcelona's sake. But he's just not attacking as a right back, left back, or I mean, he doesn't really play left, but as a right back, like, and that's why the attacks were so stagnant on the right side, because he wasn't really making any runs, doing anything. So Lamine was getting doubled and triple teamed and kept turning the ball over because he was trying to do it all himself, and it's like, it's just not working. So
he couldn't offer that out ball, or he didn't offer that out ball. So which always kind of perplexes me when seeing that, because I feel like that's, I don't know if that's an instruction that his manager's kind of okay, the manager's okay with, or if Hansi's just like, he's in still a good defensive position, I'm going to take that for now. But it's just kind of interesting, where I feel like that's what you would need to do as a fullback, is offer something, an underlap or an overlap, and just try to give your winger some options if they're if they're finding trouble. So
and that's, I think, even more so in Hansi's system.
Yeah.
Like, Hansi is so reliant on good wing back, right back, left back play. Like, it's so dependent on it. So yeah, it's like we miss it even more when it's not there, because his style is so dependent on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So it makes it more evident when it's not working. So
right. Yep.
Yeah. But hey, 3 wins in a row. Yep, 3 wins in a row. Can't complain with that. Especially when we start probably looking at the rest of the table, because it's going to be vibe check, because it was FA Cup week for the Premier League and clubs in England. So what that means is, because United got knocked out, it was a free weekend. So we were just going to go straight into the vibe check.
Yep.
I probably shouldn't have posted this given the context of what I'm about to say, but Bayern blitzed Borussia Mönchengladbach 4-1, with Dortmund surviving against Köln in the Bundesliga. Hoffenheim were able to pull away against Stuttgart with their victory over Heidenheim, and a 4-2 victory in Heidenheim. Stuttgart ended up drawing their match. So what we got in the Bundesliga, Paul, is Bayern got 66, Dortmund 55, Hoffenheim 49, and Stuttgart 47. That's what's going on in Germany.
So they're still crowned, right? What we did last week when we crowned them, they're still crowned, right?
Yeah, I think they're still going to be crowned. Yes. I think really for Bayern, it's just going to be, it's Champions League. Like, this is what they have to do. And I think especially for the kind of season that Harry Kane's having, I saw something where he has 30 goals. I don't know if that's just particularly in the Bundesliga itself, or if that's in all competitions, but holy cow, he's got 30 already.
That's crazy.
Like, that used to be,
I think it's all competitions.
Okay. Still, to see someone getting 30 goals, you still don't see that, I feel. Like, that's not something a striker does now. At least I feel like only at the very, very top level, very, very top level do you see that.
I'm getting conflicting reports.
I don't know if it's 30 in the Bundesliga or 30 in the
and what
overall
year it is. I'm getting conflicting reports.
Oh, whoops. Okay. Well, this will kind of play into later. My Superdud is what's happening with AI in that, because I was just looking at, when I was doing a quick search, I had seen that number and I was like, oh wow, I could see that. So anyway, that's where we got. But what's definitely for sure is Bayern with their 11-point lead over Borussia Dortmund, and leading the Bundesliga.
Actually, looking into a website, because AI sucks, it looks like 30 goals in just the Bundesliga this year.
Wow. Yeah. That's incredible. You still have two full months to play.
Yeah.
Top talent.
Yeah.
Top talent.
Yeah. I mean, Elizabeth and I were having conversations about strikers, because Barcelona is going to need one, if not two, going into next season. Mm-hmm. She's like, well, what about Harry Kane? And I'm like, yeah,
Oh, you could get Harry Kane.
I mean,
Play.
you'd love him, right? But it's like, what are you looking to do at the spot, right? Are you looking to find somebody who you can play who's going to be like what Lewandowski was for us 4 years ago, where you're going to get 3-4 good seasons, good to great seasons out of them,
Yeah.
and then you're looking to reshuffle the position again? Or are you looking for somebody who you're going to get for 5, 7, 10 years? Like what are we looking for here? So
Yeah.
that'll be an interesting conversation when it comes to the off season.
Yeah, I could see that. So, well, speaking of what he might do in La Liga, Paul, what's happening in La Liga?
Sure. So Real Madrid, they checked themselves. And I don't really know what that means when I wrote it, but I'm going to go with it.
Okay.
Against Celta de Vigo, just because it starts with a C.
Yeah.
But it was a 2-1.
They check themselves like they're, what is it? Yeah. It's like the check yourself before you wreck yourself. Like kind of realizing where you're at. So yeah,
I mean, I think that with that, it's an applicable description. So they needed a 90 plus 5th minute saving grace from Ernesto Valverde. No, I forgot his first name. Just Valverde is what we're going with here.
Yeah.
And it was a super lucky shot that took a huge deflection, and the goalie had already gone to save the shot. It was from outside the 18 and deflected into the opposite corner.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and here we're going to get into the Superdud a little bit here. So, at the end of the first half, a Celta de Vigo player had hit a shot that Courtois saved in the kind of scramble for the rebound. And again, it's going away from goal. But in the scramble for the rebound, the Celta de Vigo player appears to be tripped a little bit by Rudiger. And as he's kind of stumbling a little bit going for the ball, Tchouaméni goes through his back and tackles him, like American football tackles him. No call. From what I could tell, no VAR review. Okay? Whatever. You don't want to get it. Ball's going away from goal. Whatever. Okay? And then in the lead up to the Real Madrid winning goal, the way Real Madrid gets the ball back, kind of at the borderline between the attacking and the middle third parts of the pitch, the Real Madrid player like sandwiches the Celta de Vigo player's leg with his 2 legs and totally takes him out. Like that's how they win possession of the ball. Which, again, if you don't see it on the field, the ref was looking right at it, so I don't know how the referee missed it. But if you miss it on the field, VAR is supposed to, by the letter of the law, anything that's an infraction that leads up to the goal, there wasn't a change in possession after that, they're supposed to call it. Right? By letter of the law. Well, which you and I have had conversations about not, giving that because it's so like going back like 30 seconds or 45 seconds or whatever it might be, right? But as it stands right now, that is the rule. So how do you not get a VAR review and how do you not give a foul? Like it's not subject to interpretation. It's not, it might have been. It's like, no, that's like egregious.
Yeah. I'm curious because, like, did they, when he went for that tackle, did he get the ball first? Or did he have to go through the player to kind of get the ball? He had to go
through the player. It was almost like simultaneous.
Okay.
Where, like, as he's getting the ball, he's also wrapping both legs around the other player's ankle/leg.
Yeah.
Where it's like, maybe bang, bang. But at the same time, again, like the football is cracking down on those types of tackles, right? Where it's a 2-legged tackle that puts the other player at risk of injury.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they should, they're supposed to be, but then they don't. And so it's kind of like, I don't know, this is where it just is annoying because they say that they're cracking down on it, but then they let it go. So I think then it seems like, like that kind of tackle is okay, and then all of a sudden your team does it, and then it's the wrong time doing it. So
exactly. So it's again, I'll get to this in the Superdud, but it's consistency. It's like, what are we doing? It's like 1 week you think you got it figured out, and then the next week you have no idea.
Yeah.
So.
It is because we'll get into it more in the Superdud because I have thoughts on that as well. So
so Real Madrid barely keep pace, and Atletico Madrid, they barely, it's a lot of barelies. Atletico
Mm-hmm.
Madrid barely get by Real Sociedad 3-2. Villarreal barely beat Elche 2-1. A lot of late winners there. Elche almost stormed back to save points there as they get a late goal in like the 83rd minute. But
Mm-hmm.
what it means for the standings is basically par for the course. Just 3 more points for everybody.
Yeah.
Barca 67, Real Madrid 63. Atletico Madrid and Villarreal 54, but Atletico Madrid has the goal differential,
Mm-hmm.
more positive goal differential. So kind of status quo there, Andy. Speaking of status quo, I'm guessing just based on how it's been going the last few weeks, let's talk about Italy, starting with Serie A.
Yeah. So you would think status quo in just keeping with Inter's winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
That ends in the Derby
Wow.
della Madonna. So I don't know if this was at the San Siro because it's post the Olympics, but what I do know is that Inter lost 1-0 in their derby. So
Can you
what that
can you
means
say
is,
who that's against for our listeners who don't know what the Derby
yeah, so
della
Derby
Madonna
della
is?
Madonna is Inter Milan versus AC Milan. It's usually played at the San Siro, traditionally played, but I believe the San Siro is very soon no longer going to be the home of both AC and Inter Milan for their matches. So um, that's the Derby della Madonna because I think the Madonna is like the patron saint of Milan, so I
Mm-hmm.
believe that's why it's called that. Um, Joey, if you're listening, correct me if I'm wrong, but
He would know.
yeah, he would know. Just knowing the history of that, that's up his alley. So that's what it looks like at the top half of the top four. At the bottom half, uh, big match of Roma versus Genoa for both teams. Roma needing this to stave off Como
Of all
entering in
teams,
the top four.
Como.
Yeah, Como's made a run back at it against Genoa, and Genoa's fighting for to stay in in Serie A. So first half, no goals. Second half, 3 goals. Roma, I think, were able to get one, and just I think they just ran out of ideas from what I watched in the second half. Just they didn't seem to have the quality to kind of get get back into the game. There's seemingly a lot of just like hoofed balls in, just hoping something can happen. But so I think they just kind of ran out of ideas of what to do. So what that looks like now is Inter with 67 points, Milan with 60. So
Yeah.
there's 3-ish games. If Inter wobble at all, and Milan like win those 3 games, that's a whole different ball game. Napoli got back to their winning or are in their winning ways. I think they've won 2 or 3 in a row now. So they're at 56 points, and Como are now at 51 with I think a better goal differential. Roma still at 51, but they are 1 point above Juventus,
Mm.
who are steadying their ship as well. So it's getting tight up for that fourth spot. And maybe, just maybe, there might be something happening in the top, but nothing nothing to report just yet. What I can say is if we go down to Serie C, Cosenza have now won 3 in a row. They got a 1-0 victory over Team Altamora.
Nice.
So they are now, actually, I didn't report this last week, but they are now in third place and now have kept their third place spot with, I think they're ahead of 2 points ahead of their next team in fourth place. So
Does that
they're
put
moving
them
on
in
up.
the automatic qualification? Or do they need to be
It
top two?
it does not. It just puts them in a better seed for the playoff to get up because it's only the first in Serie C. It's only the first team, the team in first place that actually gets promoted.
Okay.
The others have to fight it out in a end of the year tournament.
And then how many end up getting promoted out of that?
So I want to say because it's 1-1. It would make sense if it's actually only 4 teams get promoted, but then that means 4 have to get relegated from Serie A in order for that to work. So I'll have to do some digging, and I can
Okay,
report back next week for that to see
got
how
it.
that works.
Got it.
But that's what we have happening in Italy for the FA Cup. Results around where results all around the country where one Arsenal were able to escape against Mansfield. So lucky Arsenal still getting their way. Chelsea were given all they could handle by Wrexham.
Yeah. Did you see
But
that
they
game?
required 2 goals. I did not see that.
Oh my
But it was
gosh.
from what I had seen on socials, it was close. It was close. It was
Yes.
very, very close.
Yeah. Wrexham opened the scoring in like the 25th minute, or 27th minute, something like that. Chelsea had to fight back. Your old favorite player, Garnacho, was huge in this game for them.
I can
And
see that.
yeah, it was a dogfight. It was an absolute dogfight. Back and forth and back and forth. And Chelsea ended up scoring in the first period of extra time. Wrexham, towards the end of the second half of extra time, think they get a goal back, and their guy is offside by like a couple of toes, basically.
No.
And yeah, then at the very end of the game, and at this point, Wrexham had been playing with 10 men for probably like 25 minutes or something. It's either at the very end of regulation or early into extra time. I don't remember which one it was. But they were down to 10 men just fighting it out. And you're like, man, this shows to me against a team like Chelsea, shows me why Wrexham has had such success over the last few years, because they just have a never die attitude. And they just keep going. They're going to take their hits. They're going to hit you back. And I'm excited.
Yeah.
I mean, I've also bought into the Hollywood portion of this story. I am a Ryan Reynolds fan. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to root against Ryan Reynolds. I'll say that. I'd visited Detroit during into January, and I ran into someone working at one of my brother and I's favorite sandwich places, Pecorinera, in Detroit, downtown Detroit. Definitely try it out for their sandwiches. Fantastic sandwiches. We ended up starting chatting with the workers and the owner there, and one of them is a Wrexham fan, and so he's completely bought in. And I'm like listening to him, and I was like, it's great to see Wrexham fans. It's great to see. I have a weird feeling just with any sort of like kind of the Hollywoodification of this, but I do think that there's the two owners genuinely care about the club, and I think that's probably the best thing. That's probably the best thing, because
and rare.
Yeah, very rare, very, very rare.
Yeah.
Because geez, just look at the Glazers. They couldn't give two craps about trying to come to a United game and care about City, but genuinely feeling that the owners care. So it's kind of showing. So I mean, not everyone gets bought out and can get bought out by Hollywood to come in, as others are trying to do now, of Hollywood investing into these lower level clubs to kind of repeat that. But I don't know. It's a good story. Good for Wrexham, and see what they can do.
Yep, definitely. What else happened, Andy?
Yep. So City, Liverpool, they advance and are going to actually end up facing each other in
exciting.
the quarterfinals. So a little bit of a repeat of history there, a little bit of the rivalry there. I think my big news was Port Vale winning over Sunderland. Small club of Port Vale. Small but mighty.
What level? Where is Port Vale right now?
Oh, geez, that's a great question. I have to actually use the interwebs to find that of what tier that they're at. I want to say,
are they one under the championship?
They're 24th in League One, so that's two leagues underneath the Premier League.
Okay.
And right now they're facing relegation from that league. So this is their big moment. This is definitely their big moment for it.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
I love it when this happens in these tournaments.
This is the best thing about it. I mean, it's like March Madness, but to me it just means so much more for these clubs.
I think it's more than March Madness, right?
Yeah, it's bigger. It's so much bigger. like, because it's obviously it's for like what it means for the community, but what it means for these players, what it means. I think the big thing sometimes is the financial element too
Yeah. Yeah.
of getting this,
Yep.
because they do kind of get somewhat of a payday, but that goes I think further than it would in March Madness. I don't know the whole ins
Right.
and outs. All I know is that like the only person who really wins in the March Madness is the NCAA. But at least for this, it's big
And yeah.
for it's big. It's just big for them. So happy
Yeah.
for them to
like
have
the
something.
towns, like these tiny towns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like to just, give them something to cheer for,
Yeah.
yeah. It's different, right? Because with soccer as opposed to basketball, the basketball, it's like at the end of the year tournament. It's what everybody builds up to.
Mm-hmm.
In soccer, it's like you have the league, and
Yeah.
like in Port Vale's case, they're struggling in the league and probably going to get relegated, but they have this little tiny
Mm-hmm.
nugget of hope
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is the FA Cup, right? Like it's so
Yeah.
different.
That is, yeah, that's a good point. Where it's like at least in the tournament, like that is the whole career. That's it.
Yep. That's
Whereas
it.
like this, like they can still have something in their gear that's a little bit different and that they can look forward to. And just what it does, I think, like we were talking about, is like what it does for the community of getting people in and involved. Because people really do follow, like really do care.
Mm-hmm.
More so, I think, than fans of the U.S. care.
Yeah. 100%.
I feel fans of the U.S. care maybe more about like something that wins versus like, no, this is just my club.
Yeah. Well,
like that's it. That's it. So for them, it's huge.
Let me throw out a crazy stat I heard this week. So the Super Bowl over the last 4 years has averaged about 125 million viewers per year, right?
Yeah.
Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid, second leg of the Copa del Rey semifinal, had over 550 million viewers worldwide.
Yeah. 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 Isn't it crazy? So the clubs that we support are clubs that almost on a weekly basis have a larger viewership than the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. And I understand why. Like it's so much more exciting than football, but American football, but that's another podcast for another time.
Yeah, that's another time for that. But all that to say, this is kind of the wonder and the magic of the FA Cup, because then it's just the merit. You see the meritocracy. What does the team do when it's out like on a pitch against any other team? You see what happens there.
Yep.
So getting then to the rest, running up the rest of the fixtures, West Ham eke out on penalties against Brentford, which there was apparently, from what I saw, there was a failed Panenka penalty that went horribly wrong from Brentford.
No.
Which I don't know if I don't know about Panenkas. Obviously, like they look cool when you pull them off, but if you don't get it right, I personally don't think a Panenka's worth it. Personally, I don't know if it's worth it for me.
Yeah,
I wouldn't try it.
We can get into the strategy of penalties on another separate podcast.
Very true, because there is a whole mind game of that. And then Leeds are able to breeze past Norwich. So now what it looks like in the FA Cup for the quarterfinals is West Ham against Leeds, Chelsea versus Port Vale, City versus Liverpool, and lowly Southampton facing Arsenal. So yeah, looking
Let's go
like
Port Vale.
Come on, Port Vale. Come on, Southampton.
Yeah.
Come on, the Saints. Go marching in. So that brings us to now the end of our podcast, where we have the super subs and super duds with no Champions League action right now.
Yep.
So Paul, I have to ask you, your super sub and super dud, who do you have?
Supersub Pedri. I mean, it's so crazy. I don't understand why more people don't talk about him. And I feel like it's not I feel like the former players all give Pedri his love, and every bit of it's deserved.
Yeah.
I feel like it's some of these, like maybe like people on social media. It's a real dichotomy. And I feel like the people on social media just care about goals and highlight plays, because that's how a lot of people consume soccer nowadays.
Yeah.
But the former players get it. I heard on Rio Ferdinand's podcast, and I don't remember who he had on, but them talking about the magic of Pedri, like it's just like it literally it was night and day.
Yeah.
Could not have been more different first half, second half, and the difference was him. He was the one
Yeah.
change that Barcelona made. So
yeah, he is the difference of that team. I think he takes Barcelona from a very good team to like obviously a Champions League qualifier.
Yeah,
absolutely. So
100%.
Perfect on
which
that.
we will see how that goes against Newcastle tomorrow. So
yeah, we'll see.
Yep.
Yep.
Superdud. I'm just going lack of VAR consistency. I mean, specifically under a microscope, just looking at that Celta de Vigo and Real Madrid game. But it's just like you watch games and it's like it's vastly different depending on what game you're watching, what's getting called and what's not.
Yeah.
VAR was supposed to make the game cleaner, more easier to follow for the fans. It's supposed to be more fair, whatever you want to say about it. It's just like I feel like we just get more and more confused as the games go on, as the seasons go on. So
I agree. I saw something where I think in German soccer, I think some fans unplugged VAR because they were so frustrated by it, so that it could not actually watch and see into the game.
Wow.
To kind of make it, and like I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I don't see. I think the problem with VAR is like now that it's adding in this element of waiting and seeing, it takes away from the match, and it puts way too much of a impetus on what the officiating does in a game. Because because isn't like the whole thing of like officiating is like you should not know that they're there, like in the game. Like obviously, like you find the fouls that happen, those are correctly called because that impedes the flow of the game when that happens.
Yeah.
But you should really not notice the referees in a great game. But VAR takes that away because now it's in everything. I think it's making the current referees doubt their decisions and just think, well, if I don't make a decision, I'll just let VAR try to cover up for it. But then it makes them both of them
lazy.
Look bad.
Makes them lazy.
Yeah. And like I don't necessarily know if the referee, I wouldn't call them necessarily lazy because like there's so much that they're dealing with. I totally get it. But
okay, lazy decision making.
Yeah. I think it just makes it it's just not assertive, it's not initiative. And like you want to see if it's a referee who's going to make a call, you want to see them make the call and just have that be. Because again, he's the arbiter, he's the judge, what he says goes. But now with this, I think it just undermines that authority, and what you're left with is just slop. And then when a bad decision is made, it looks even worse.
Right.
It looks even worse because there's
Yeah, and I also look at it like the side judges. And that's where I kind of view it as laziness, and I don't necessarily blame them because this is what they're told to do, but they're told to keep their flag down unless it's blatantly obvious. Well, blatantly obvious, they're letting a guy run 3 yards plus offside, and they're like, I'm not going to put my flag up until the play has like either stopped or they've lost their advantage for a clear goal scoring opportunity, and it's like. We are playing these out where the offside decision is like the last defender is here. Wait, let me turn my hand. Last defender is here. The side judge is here, and the attacking player is here, going left to right.
Yep.
And it's like he's beyond you, and you're beyond the last defender. Make a call.
Yeah.
Like you're putting player safety, player health at risk.
And it's happened. And that's happened. Like that happened between Everton and Liverpool, where I think Van Dijk, he was out because of VAR. If there was no VAR, line ref puts his flag up, that's called right there. Van Dijk doesn't get injured.
Yep.
Like end of story there. So yeah. So
it's again, if it's anywhere close, like I get it, don't put your flag up, but. When you see on the replay, the guy's 3, 4, 5 yards offside. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
That's where that's a lot of what I'm calling laziness.
Yeah. I think the perception of laziness is definitely there, and
Yeah.
I think that's the problem, is because
Yep.
whatever's perceived is the reality. So
Yep.
that's the key there.
So
So
talk about reality. I think these fans are pinching themselves, Andy.
yes, for Port Vale, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to actually start with the Super Dud because I feel whenever I do the Super Dud sub and Super Dud and I end with a Super Dud, it ends the podcast as a dud because you're like,
I mean, we are
no,
duds.
Andy,
If our
we are
fans haven't
duds.
figured this out by now, we are duds.
We are pretty duds. We're shooting blanks. That's it. So I actually just read this. I was going to type in something about Paul Scholes and what he had put in. Which was a really just bad understanding of like public relations. But found this other crazier story, and because it involves AI, and that's obviously what everyone is talking about, concerned about, rightfully so, today. Where apparently on X, the AI assistant called Grok had written some, at the request of individuals, had written derogatory, defamatory, just disgusting remarks on Liverpool and the Hillsdale or the Hillsborough the Hillsborough incident. I think that's what it's called. The Hillsborough. There's like an official name for it. The Hillsborough. I can't think of it. Hillsborough. I think it's just called Hillsborough because of that incident. Like
Disaster.
Yes, disaster. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
So for the Hillsborough disaster, Grok had wrote something. This AI assistant had wrote something for someone who had requested, who probably just typed into Grok, "Hey, write me something that would get Liverpool fans mad, or like is like a snarky comment to make to Liverpool." And Grok then encouraged this person to continue by answering the question, and then 2, giving them the Hillsborough disaster as a way to make fun of Liverpool fans. They also did the same with Manchester United and the Munich air disaster. And I just have to say, I think there's one, AI for this is horrible, and there absolutely has to be something. But I think 2, the problem I think we're getting, and I'm just feel like I'm seeing this more and more, is that people feel that sports is now the place where this is where you can go to a place, pay money, and just be an a-hole.
Yep.
Without any repercussions.
Yep.
Because that's encouraged. It's encouraged like at the kids level, where I've seen parents yelling at umpires, yelling at kids, yelling at coaches, thinking that this is where I can voice this. I've seen that from my time coaching baseball. I see it when I just go to a game and seeing old farts getting drunk and yelling at the umpire for no reason. And players at a baseball game.
Yeah.
So I feel this is a bigger issue than just AI, but I definitely think AI technology is not necessarily causing it, but allowing this and festering it and encouraging it to happen. And we need to get that out of the game, because competition is not about putting others down. I know it's that there's a winner and a loser, but the competition is just seeing how you can overcome hurdles and achieve things, and that aspect. And so that's my little spiel on that, of this bigger issue of letting people be a-holes. So that's my super dud. So screw AI, screw X, screw Elon Musk. They can walk. Supersub, because what is all good about soccer is Port Vale story. Third tier of English football, being able to punch with the big boys, and beating them. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here to see. We're here to see these small communities and small teams go up against it and overcome these, and create some joy.
I was rooting for Wrexham against Chelsea for the exact same reason. It's like, this is why we watch sports. We watch for the underdogs. We watch for these Cinderella stories. Like, what is
you
better? And
yeah.
obviously, when it's against your team, you don't want them to win, but everybody else is like, why wouldn't you want them to win?
Yeah, I saw something on Instagram where the reason why like something with like no, it was Ryan Reynolds was talking to Rio Ferdinand, and he was saying that like the reason why he purchased it and like why he thinks it's the best thing he's ever done is because he doesn't think you get any other emotion like the emotion he has seen at Wrexham, and that's coming
Yep.
from a Hollywood actor who is he is good. He's a good actor.
Yep.
So him saying that and him seeing that, I think is very telling. So again, this is the pinnacle of sport is seeing, making these dreams made for Port Vale that like no one would probably gives a crap. I'm sure kids are even made fun of for rooting for Port Vale versus other teams, but those kids, those families, that community that loves Port Vale through and through, they're getting something very special. So
Yeah,
it's good to celebrate good special things. So
definitely.
right on Port Vale. So
Absolutely.
with that, I'll wrap up our podcast for this week. We have a big, I think next week is going to be a big podcast for us because of Barcelona versus Newcastle. United will face Aston Villa for a spot in the top 4. So big sports weekend for us. But until then, guys, thanks for hanging with us. I have been Andy. Paul has been Paul. With that, I'm wishing you all a big old bye.
Bye.